Hey everybody, what's going on? You are listening to the Playing On Podcast. My name is Markowski, and thank you for joining me. This episode is brought to you by Dr. Paintball, where it is your go-to spot, or site, I guess, for new and used gear of any manufacturer. They have all kinds of stuff. They also have a paintball kind of, current events site where they blog and make videos and everything. They also have this new program called Trade In Your Gear, where you can sign up and actually trade in your gear. I believe it's every month based on what your current gear is worth. But it's very, very cool. These guys have supported the podcast for a while now, and I'm very happy to be able to help them out and kind of spread the word. They do a lot for the paintball community out there in California, and I'm glad to be helping them out. drpaintball.com, check them out. Especially check out the Trade In Your Gear program, and also at checkout, no matter what you're getting, if you type in the promo code PLAYON, PLAYON, you will get a free gift. I don't know what it is. It's a surprise, but if you type in PLAYON at checkout, you will get a free gift. So drpaintball.com, make sure you check them out. We are also brought to you by Carbon Paintball, where we have all of the new CC line out. We have the SC line out as well. We have all kinds of colors for the SC packs. The CC gloves are out. The new pads are coming out. We have elbow pads and knee pads. That's a part of the CC line. But we have new products coming out too. We have things being made right now as we speak. And if you guys have any kind of inquiries about, if you want your team to be, sponsored by Carbon, shoot me an email, carl@carbonpaintball.com, or go over to the website, check it out. There's also an email address there, and we will answer your questions as quickly and efficiently as possible. And also with Carbon, if you type in the promo code capital TPOP, you will get 10% off your entire order. That is just my phone hitting the ground. But yeah, you will get 10% off your entire order. Capital TPOP. Yeah, check them out. CarbonPaintball.com. And last but not least, we are brought to you by Planet Eclipse, who makes the best markers on the planet, especially like the one that I shoot, which is the LVR. But it's a new one this year. It's not the LVR, but it's a new LV platform marker that I will be shooting this year, and they look pretty slick. I like them. I like them a lot. I think a lot of people out there will like them too. And Aftershock will be shooting them. The majority of Aftershock will be shooting them. So a big shout out to Planet Eclipse. Make sure you head over to their website, planeteclipse.com, where you can find out all of the markers that they make. Oh yeah, another one, the GMEC mechanical frame, or GTEC mechanical frame that you can find over there. That thing has been a hot cake lately, and I can't wait to get my hands on one, man. Those things are so awesome. That is the only thing I'll shoot in a mechanical form, because I'm so bad at shooting an autococker. I'll admit it, and I am now. But make sure you check them out, planeteclipse.com. Thank you to all of our sponsors for this podcast, for this episode rather. But yeah, so this episode is with Brad Baldwin. You guys have out there probably seen his work. He is a photographer. Right now he's kind of a freelance photographer for whoever in Las Vegas. He's looking for a team or person or company or whatever. But he is from a company called From Inside the Net. He printed out that full picture magazine with all kinds of articles from Oliver Lang, to, I believe, Nico Hyde did one. I wrote one up for him. Very, very cool guy. Awesome pictures, awesome content in the magazine, and just an overall awesome dude. Great guy, great conversation. I had a really good time talking to him, and I know that you guys are going to enjoy it. So yeah, we'll see you at the end. Brad, how you doing?
Hey man, good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I'm glad I finally got you on here. Especially, first off, for everybody, this is if you haven't heard of him yet, you probably haven't seen the face behind the lens and the mask and everything, but this is from Inside the Nets, Brad Baldwin. Right? Baldwin?
Right, yeah. Brad Baldwin.
Because you have 2 Instagrams, right?
Yeah, I have one that's more like all my landscape type stuff, and then the paintball one from Inside the Net. So
the landscapes are amazing.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
it's incredible. I mean, it is one of the coolest ones that I follow. I can say, just because I'm such a visual person,
right.
And I think that's why I like Instagram so much more than I do Facebook, is because it's just everyone had seen through everybody else's eyes is what you're seeing, and I love seeing all your stuff, man.
Yeah, that really we got moved out to California about 4 years ago, and that's when a lot of that landscape and stuff really took off for me. I mean, it's hard to be, within like 3.5 hours of Yosemite and not go there often. So,
yeah. So, where are you originally from?
I grew up in New Jersey, and then went to college at Penn State, and then from there, my first job was in Washington D.C., and we lived there for about 3 years, and then I got a job offer from Facebook, and they moved us out to California, San Francisco.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that was 2013. So yeah, a little over 4 years out here now.
So how do you get approached by Facebook?
It was just I actually applied through LinkedIn. One of the few that just went in randomly on LinkedIn and applied, and ended up going through their long interview process and got the job offer, which is pretty crazy. My wife and I, we were getting married, I think like 2 weeks before I got the job offer. Mm-hmm. So we got married, had to sell our condo, went on a 2-week honeymoon to Fiji, and then had to move to San Francisco all within like a month. So,
jeez, sounds like a terrible time.
Right. No, but yeah, it's been good out here. It's definitely a lot different from the East Coast. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's cold. The only thing I being from the Midwest, I enjoy the Midwest. I don't like the fact that the sport that I am somewhat good at is like a seasonal sport where you need to play outside and have really good weather, but I like the seasons. I like seeing the leaves change and the snow. Right now I'm kind of pissed because it's just feels like it's been cold for way too long. And I like the snow. I just don't like the cold. But I love fall. Right. Yeah. I mean that's the nice thing with San Francisco. I mean we can be out like kind of in the woods and see fall within like an hour and a half. Yeah. Tahoe's like 3.5, so we can be there for all the snow and stuff. So. We get it a little bit, but yeah, we don't have the exact 4 seasons right where we are. Yeah.
My wife really misses it. She would go back east anytime.
You got to make the sacrifices. So what got you involved in photography?
I think it was actually paintball that got me into photography to start with. Kind of got into paintball. I was like 6th grade. One of my friends, had a magazine in class and just looked through there. And at the time, I was really big into playing soccer all growing up. I was 3 to 4 times a week. We'd have practice and then traveling on the weekend. So there's really never time for paintball.
Yeah.
But, I still wanted to play, and I would beg my parents for a gun and everything, but it's always no.
Yeah.
So the way I ended up getting a gun was just by chance. I had to go in for like an MRI on my knees, and they found like a tumor in my leg. And my mom felt so bad for me. She took me to the store and got me a paintball gun.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So the tumor ended up, it was fine. It went away on its own. It was benign. So it's fine on that end. Yeah. So that's kind of how I got my first gun and everything. But as I said, like all growing up, it was always soccer, so I could never really commit to a team and play full time for paintball. Mm-hmm. So I would just bring my camera with me to practices and kind of just started from there.
Yeah, I mean, even thinking about that, like I wonder if, because I don't know how the high school and the grade school sports, how those function now, and if they're even integrating any kind of that kind of sport. Extreme sport aspect into like the high school sports. Like I was thinking about it, started doing jiu-jitsu, and I wonder if they would ever start incorporating that into like the sports regime that a certain high school or grade school has, or if it's just always going to be soccer, baseball, football, this.
Right. Yeah. When people always say about growing paintball and everything, I mean, I really think one of the major pushes has to be like at the college level or high school level. I mean, for my parents, it's always just, it's not a legitimate sport. You can't quit soccer and go play paintball. So
yeah. And there lies the exact reason why we're not at the level that we should be. With paintball, and it's also with it being, unless you're very, very fortunate of being close to a field and know somebody at the field and you get paint, you're not going to be able to practice during the week. You have to wait to those weekends because it's not like skateboarding or anything else or riding your bike. You can just grab it and go after school. It's kind of like, you know, nobody's going to be there, and then, you know, at that level, are you ready to drill by yourself and really drilling accurately? You know what I mean? So that's the tough part with paintball right now, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely tough growing up. I mean, it's interesting looking back now how involved I am with paintball, but soccer I just really don't really care about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it kind of sucks. But, yeah, so with the photography, I would say like Dell Hobbies was the closest to me in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And that's where like Arsenal and Justice and a lot of those A-Team and a lot of those old good like 7-man teams, and I think even 10-man back then. That was probably like 2002, 2003-ish, I want to say.
I think so. Did you know Mike Zapp?
Oh, yeah.
Chance? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've been Zapp for years. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a real cool dude. I
have some funny pictures from him, probably from like 10 years ago. He has like a pink bandana around his neck and all that. And
there's always a photographer in the group, and it's always good to go because you remember Brandon Showers?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
He grew up in the Tittman camp, and he was always doing photography through then, and he's always had some really great pictures like that I can look back on and be like, man, those are really good pictures. That brings back so many memories. It's not just some random like, or yeah, it might be just some random photo, and then it kind of clicks in your brain, you know, of that memory. But yeah, that's cool. I figured I'd bring that up if you knew Mike or not.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've known him for a long time.
So were you playing? Were you playing more paintball at this point than you were soccer?
Oh no. I mean, soccer was right through college. I mean, it was.
Oh, okay. It's
I would say
serious.
Every day of the week, hour and a half each way to practice. My dad would drive me every day, and then weekends we'd be traveling. So with paintball, I mean, back then it was kind of like if you're athletic, you could do pretty well on your own. It's not like, I feel like it's a lot different today. So, I mean, I would like randomly be able to hop on and play a couple like tournaments. Like, I think I played the IAO in 2003 or 4, and we played like LTZ before they were really LTZ and got our asses kicked. And
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I played a little bit, but it never got to a point where I could just fully commit and give everything to paintball. So that's kind of why photography was a little easier to just keep going with that.
Now, were you somewhat interested at this point, or did you kind of just have an inkling that you wanted to do photography?
It was just a fun thing. I mean, at the beginning, it was all just in between points, pulling out the camera and taking pictures, and I didn't really have any plans to take it anywhere. And then just as I got, I guess, better and better at it, I just kind of just started doing like tournaments like GPL and AXBL and some of those Northeast regional tournaments is where I kind of started from there.
Yeah.
And then I got in with the Arsenal Kids Camp, and they were playing out of the field Cobra Command, like out of the Philly area. So their owner there kind of started paying for me to travel to all the NPPL events.
Cool.
That was 2007. So that was probably like my biggest year if we go way back, 2007, as far as national events. I did a lot of the NPPL events back then and just followed the Arsenal Kids. That was kind of when you had Splat Kids, Drama, and that whole like D2, D3 back then was just really good paintball.
Yeah.
So that was a good time back then. I mean, Aftermath was, in their prime, and kind of all those old teams too.
Yeah, I think back then too, it was even the semi-pro back then was really intense.
I mean, it's weird. But, I mean, I don't feel like it's the same now. Like, drama and some of those D3, D2 teams. I think D2 is kind of when they were really at their peak, but they were selling jerseys and more popular than some pro teams back then.
Yeah.
And I feel like now divisional teams, I don't know if anyone really has that same following as it was back then. And I don't know if that's just like PB Nation. If that's, I mean, that's a huge change too. I feel with the social side of paintball,
Yeah.
and where some early teams got their huge gatherings from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what exactly, because I mean, I wasn't necessarily following divisional, but I know, coming up through the divisional ranks, even playing D2 with Tittman back in 03, 04, I mean, there were crowds around the nets in the divisionals too, and I mean, even now I'll go around the events and I'll see, the different crowds, but I feel like it's nothing like it used to be.
Right.
So let me ask you a couple questions about, because now that we're kind of into you, shooting, I guess, professionally at this point. Well, you're getting paid for it anyway.
Right.
You're a camera for hire. But so what is your take on getting the perfect paintball shot? Like, to you, like, is it off the break? Is it something where you want it to be more actiony than kind of stand still in the pits kind of thing? Like, what's your go-to shot?
Yeah, I mean, the pits are definitely where, I mean, I like to spend a lot of my time, especially like on a Sunday when the games are really mattering. There's a lot of, intensity and stuff within the pits and getting people's emotions and expressions. I think it's totally different, seeing someone without their mask on, and you get a lot of feelings out of those shots.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the chin straps have interfered a little bit with that, I feel. They're getting in the way a little bit, but yeah, I mean, the pits, I love being in the pits, but on the field, I mean, when people ask me for advice on paintball shots, I just tell them, look where all the other photographers are and go the other way. I mean, you'll see, 5 all grouped together and everyone's getting that same exact shot. So I always try and, go down the sideline a little more and get a different angle than what everyone else is trying to get. Which, I mean, I could see in the beginning when you're starting out, it's hard because if you're in that spot, it's going to be a great shot, and you're kind of taking that chance of walking somewhere else to get something different, which might not work out all the time. So
yeah, and it's that learning curve, and I think with just like with anything else, is that or at least what I think with photography, it's got to be your perspective, right? So you have to have, and it's about angles and obviously lighting and everything. But I think with paintball, it's the best angle that you can get. I mean, I think the better shot you can get. I think the more like abstract the angle is a cooler shot. I mean, because everybody has those, those newer photographer shots where it's off the break or a guy just coming to his bunker. But if you can get ones that are, I like the ones where you had a couple of me where I'm kicking up a bunch of dust,
right,
and just something that gives it a little bit more, drama to the shot. I think is really what you are very, very good at doing.
Yeah, I would say there. I mean, I love to lay down. I would say for 95% of my pictures, I'm always laying down and kind of looking up at you guys, and I feel like that perspective really, it gives you guys a little bit more scale when you're running right at me, and then as well as you said, like getting the dust and all those extra kind of details when you guys are diving in. I feel laying down really helps with that.
So what? At what point was it where, or was it in 2007 at the MPPLs? But at what specific point, if there was one, were you like, hey, I'm pretty damn good at this, and I could turn this into something?
It's always hard for a photographer because everyone loves the photographer.
Yeah.
You're always, oh, you have the best pictures ever, and you always get so much praise and all that.
I'm sure you critique your own work, though, right? I mean, you're always striving probably to do better in your eyes.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, personally for me, I mean, like I'll sit here and like look for a photo to post on Instagram. I might edit 5, then hopefully I pick one I like, and then I'll go back like tomorrow and look at what I edited last night. Like, what was I thinking? Usually.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's always a learning process as far as that goes too.
Yeah. So was there a?
But yeah, as far as like a turning point for like keep going with it, Um, I mean, it was more just you're not gonna, make a ton of money off the photography from paintball. So
Yeah.
it's more just building relationships and just, seeing like watching the Arsenal kids develop through the divisional ranks and just becoming friends with them and other teams like that and just wanting to be there at events and being with like all my friends and stuff. So as long as I always just got all my expenses covered, I was just fine with it.
Aren't we all?
Right.
So you get into college at Penn State.
Yeah.
Which is a very nice jacket you have on, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I'm an Ohio State fan, not a crazy Ohio State fan, but it just looks like a nice jacket.
I might have had to unfollow you for those, but
well, like to me, I'm a hockey fan.
Okay.
I like my hockey, even college sports. Like I'll watch the Ohio State and Michigan game, but I'm not like. I'm not throwing furniture if it doesn't go Ohio State's way. Like it doesn't matter to me. But
yeah,
I'll watch the Red Wings.
Yeah,
more than
Penn
anything.
State. They just added a D1 hockey team within the last few years, and I know they've been performing pretty well. But
really,
yeah, I know they were top 20, and then they lost like 5-3 to Notre Dame the other night, and they're ranked 2. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah, there's always a big rivalries between Ohio State here, obviously Michigan, but Michigan State's a really good club. Bowling Green, which is only like 20 minutes from me, there was like a 4-team conference tournament or something, and Bowling Green ended up winning it. It's a smaller of all the schools, and it ended up winning. It was pretty cool. But yeah, so you're at Penn State. You're a student there. What are you studying at Penn State?
I did supply chain management and international business.
Nice.
So supply chain is pretty much like the purchasing from raw materials of a product through the actual manufacturing, getting it out to customers. So, that's went in for that major and stuck with it for the 4 years I was there.
Nice. And did Penn State they didn't have a college team at that time, did they?
I'm trying to think because I did go to a meeting and I believe the year I went, they just had all their funding cut. So at that time, they were playing at Pittsburgh, I want to say All-American Paintball Park, which would have been a bit of a drive from Penn State. And again, just with school and committing and everything, I just wasn't up for, the 2+ hour drive every weekend.
Yeah.
For practices.
Yeah, that's the predicament I'm in right now is, I'm trying to obviously Aftershock as a whole is trying to keep up with everybody that's been playing on the West Coast and in Texas since after World Cup. And me myself, I think the closest indoor to me is at least 2 hours away.
Wow. Yeah.
And then a really nice field, but it's an outdoor field is Level Up Sports. Dave Pando runs that down in Columbus. But
yeah, I've seen pictures. That field looks really nice from what I've.
Yeah, as soon as it warms up and it's not 15 degrees here, I'd love to go outside and play. I see pictures of people going outside and playing in the snow. I'm like, that looks terrible. I don't know if I'm just too late in my career or I'm like, it's not worth it for me to get frostbite on my fingers.
Yeah, I mean, a majority of my friends on Facebook through paintball are still from the Northeast, so I see all their winter photos, so I'm just, no thank you.
It does not look like fun. It never even did when I first started playing. And when everybody was like, let's go play in the snow, I'm like, no, it sounds like a terrible idea. I don't want to play in the snow. I don't like it when it rains and playing paintball, so I'm going to hate it when it snows because it's just the same thing, but cold, even colder. So no thank you. Nice and dry California weather. That'd be if I could have that, maybe 80% of the time the season's here instead of having such the summertime and the cold are same equal amounts of time during the seasons is killing me. It sucks. But let's see. You're in college now. Are you still getting paid at this point to shoot for teams?
Yeah, so I mean, every event I would kind of do the for hire thing, and then there's a few like smaller companies that would hire me to do photos. So
what companies were you shooting for?
It was really weird. Like one random store in Austria wanted me to get a bunch of photos for them to put in their store.
Really?
So yeah, yeah, they had this really good one of like Gator getting blasted like straight in the face that they got blown up and put on one of their walls, and they put like a billboard outside their store. So
Oh,
that
sick.
was really interesting.
Yeah.
um, I want to say it was Warp Sports or someone who made parts because it was like the Warp Ninjas team. They
Hmm.
had me do a bunch of like design and graphic work for them. Um, and I know like Triggers was a Spy maybe was that a
Violent?
Violent Triggers? Yeah, that might have been it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then of course Arsenal Kids were. I mean, that got the owner of that organization was covering most of all my costs. So
Now, was this your income while you were in college, or did you have a side job?
yeah, I mean back then you could. I feel like it's harder now to make money in paintball photography. It was a little easier back then. People were more willing to spend a bit more
Yeah.
for hiring. So yeah, I mean I was definitely making decent money going to each event and doing pretty okay on that.
So when your last year of college came up, what was your direction? Where were your what were your
So
intentions?
so paintball photography like 2007 was big. 2008, I think I did two events, Phoenix and NEO at All American Paintball Park. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then 2009, I only did Huntington Beach. I think I did that because it was supposed to be maybe the last Huntington Beach, so I had to make it out for that one.
Yeah.
And then after that, kind of just completely lost paintball. Stopped following, stopped photographing. Graduated college in 2010. And then that following summer, 2011, when I was settled down and figured I could actually commit myself to paintball again, I got on one of the lift teams, Long Island Fight Team.
Hmm.
Sure if you remember them, but they had a pretty good D1 team for a while back then. And then we made a D3 team. So we played out of OXCC Paintball Park, and I was driving. Again, it was over 2 hours from Washington, D.C. And during the summer, with all the people going to the shore and stuff, I mean, traffic was just outrageous. So
Yeah.
that lasted. I think I did like three events and just walked away from it. Felt pretty fulfilled for being able to dedicate myself and play, play a
Yeah.
little bit, and then kind of moved on. And a lot of those guys actually went on to become the Brooklyn Bears. So yeah, that's how I kind of started. I stayed with them when I came back to paintball. Fortunately, they broke up now, but
Yeah. So when did you officially come back to start shooting for yourself? Or I mean, or has it ever been for yourself, or have you always been shooting? Well, you
it's
obviously
always
had the
been.
books. You
Yeah,
had the books,
it's always been for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those, like, you'll see on Instagram, I'll post a lot of pictures from that, like, 2007, 2009 time frame.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I was just so bad with editing back then that a lot of those photos were never before seen. So
Yeah.
a lot of those are getting posted for the first time. And I don't know, that's just kind of what I liked with photography, with the paintball photography. It's easy to get burnt out on.
Hmm.
Because it's very repetitive. I mean, when you're at an event, it's almost the same breakouts every single time and same shots
Yeah.
over and over again. So that's why I think it's like Gary Baum always says photographers last 3 years. And just from an artistic standpoint, it does just, get a little bit boring and tedious.
So what are your plans? I mean, do you plan on shooting again next year and continuing
Yeah, I mean,
your magazines?
I've put out some, feelers just through Instagram and seeing what I get back through that. And I mean, I haven't gotten anything for Vegas yet, so we'll see.
We'll talk later.
So we'll see if I'm in Vegas or not, which, I mean, it's a little surprising.
Yeah.
But
That's paintball life.
yeah.
So you never.
I mean,
One minute everybody's asking you, and the next minute it's like crickets. Like what?
yeah, the paintball industry is definitely different from, photography industry, then it's especially different from, supply chain, what I do in my other career. So it's
Yeah.
definitely a whole different animal.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you don't mind me asking, what do you do at Facebook?
So I stayed at Facebook for about 2 years, and that was all supply chain within. That was more of an internal supply chain for all their data centers throughout the world.
Hmm.
So we handled all the hardware and stuff like that, and the purchasing and getting it out to the warehouse, or not warehouses, data centers. So like Sweden, all over the U.S., and traveling out to them
Hmm.
and working on projects. So after 2 years, I took an offer from PlayStation, and at PlayStation, I was doing like supply chain network design, determining where the warehouses are in relationship to customers, and pricing projects to make sure just efficiencies within the warehouses and cost reduction type projects.
Oh, cool. And that's your current employer?
I actually left them like 3 months ago in November. Just got completely burnt out, and now just taking time and traveling around and just having a little bit of fun before looking for my next one. So
yeah, well, that's cool. Well, I mean, it sounds like you know what you're doing if you're working for all those companies, and
no, it's definitely been it's been a good was it 4.5 years now in California and with those two companies. So, but now I think we want to get up to like Seattle or Portland, or if my wife gets her way back east.
That was going to be my next question. If you plan on staying down in California, I lived in Tacoma for a little bit,
Okay.
and for about a little over a year, I think. But I mean, that place is beautiful. The scenery is beautiful. The little cold and wet at times, but if you can get over that, then I loved it up there.
Yeah, I usually do probably like 2 road trips a year to Seattle. So yeah, just it's a little closer, to the mountains and the beach than San Francisco is. So
Yeah, I've been trying to convince my wife to jump on an airplane and take a vacation over there, but she still hasn't been on one flight yet in her entire
really?
life. Yeah, so I was telling her, I was like, well, what better way than across the country on an airplane?
Yeah.
Just skip all the little ones. So to the NXL,
Mhm.
it's another thing. I think people who follow you on Instagram or anywhere else, you kind of not necessarily butt heads, but you bring to light some of the things that are questionable of what the league is doing. I think one of the first things I saw was you're posting about how, I think it was last year, I don't know if it was just a World Cup thing, but how they were they giving photographers limited amount of time or a limited amount of actual shooting time on the fields?
Yeah, so I actually just got it today again, because I registered for Vegas, so I got the rule sheet for this year, and they had it again. It's like an agreement with Go Sports, that if you're a videographer, you can't video for longer than 15 seconds. Well, I should say you can film like a minute clip, but then when you post that clip, it can't be a continuous 15-second. So yeah, you have to chop every clip up into 15-second increments, which, I guess for a lot of the way a lot of guys are editing now, it might not be a huge deal.
It's a highlight video, pretty much.
Right. But anything longer, 15 seconds, that's usually about a breakout by the time everyone runs and dives into their spots.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually like a good 10 seconds right there. So, it's not much time at all.
No, but do you still think it's, do you still think it's kind of, shitty that they are limiting it like that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't, the surprising part too is it even falls under the NXL's own video guys, that they can't film longer than that either. So I just don't know how some of these deals get done, where even the NXL hurts themselves to bend over for Go Sports agreements. And I know all the money is kind of intertwined with each other, but it just doesn't make much sense to me.
No, and I always wondered with Go Sports is why is it? It seems like Go Sports is this third party company that has so much control over what the NXL can show, does, how it's filmed. I've talked to a lot of people, and I feel like there's so much room for improvement from Go Sports on how we can manage a few things.
Mhm.
Honestly, and personally, I feel like our best bet as a paintball industry, world, whatever you want to call it, I feel like we should go after the YouTubes and the Netflixes and the Amazon, or at least let's start maybe on some kind of live platform. You know, call it Facebook and stream for free on Facebook or YouTube, and get it out there. Get the names, get the sport itself, get it out there to the people who have no idea what the hell this thing is. And get it out to the people who will always ask me, "Oh, I didn't know you could do that professionally. I didn't know you could do that," which happens all the time. And get those views coming in, because the people that are paying for the monthly Ghost Sport, and this is nothing against Ghost Sports. I understand everybody is trying to, you know, help the sport out, grow the sport, # grow the sport, whatever you want to do. But I mean, I think there's ways we should go about it, and I think everything costs money. I understand that, but I think the only people who are paying are the people who already play the sport, who already know about it, who already want to watch it. And how many times do they go back in, with how much it is, how many times do they go back in and watch games in the off season, or you know, what games do they go back and watch? I understand, I believe there's jiu-jitsu on there and then some lacrosse stuff, but
which, yeah, I mean, I've heard that you mentioned lacrosse and jiu-jitsu, that Ghost Sports is using the money that they're making off paintball to fund those even. So that really just, I mean, that blows my mind too, that they're using the paintball money, you know, to fund other video aspects. I mean, I know they have to grow their business, but
yeah.
I feel on the paintball side, there's such a letdown still. I mean, we're still not up to a point where the webcast is running 100% of the time at events. It always seems like there's some type of downtime, and I think that there's a lot of room for improvement on that side.
Yeah. And I understand that the paintball side of it is a lot more, you know, tedious as far as, you know, where it's going to be placed, especially with any other sport, because you don't have to worry about getting shit all over it or anything like that. But I was wondering, do they market this Ghost Sports thing to the crowds of jiu-jitsu and lacrosse and these other sports like they do to paintball? Like, hey, buy this membership and you can go in and watch this. Is it the same marketing as far as they're concerned? Yeah,
I mean, I have no idea what goes on that side, but just speaking to how, you know, I think everyone agrees that the webcast should be free. And I was kind of wondering with Ghost Sports, I mean, everyone I know that pays that, was it $9 a month, is usually a player. I mean, obviously not all the players, but a lot of them subscribe to it and then go back later that night to watch games in their hotel rooms and things like that. So I was wondering, like, if Ghost Sports, you know, did the webcast live for free and then kept premium memberships so you could DVR games and all those interviews and field breakdowns, all the extra stuff, how many subscribers would they really lose if they moved to a free webcast but then still offered that additional content for the $9 a month?
Yeah, but I think we need to figure out some kind of area where a bunch of people are already on.
Oh yeah, I mean, like Facebook. Yeah, I mean, that's really the simplest way. I mean, what do they have, like 2 billion on their platform now?
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I think someone messaged me a while ago. One of the Mason brothers from Pro Paintball. He saw that Iron City Classic. I think it was Simon or someone was live streaming on Facebook from that. And then that randomly popped up on his feed, which he hadn't thought about paintball in years. So then he messaged me and started talking to me about paintball again and talking about the Pro Paintball website and getting that going again and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I think Facebook I would say that's the easiest way to reach a ton of people. I mean, I hate when all the pros are posting, you know, go check me out at 9 a.m. on GoSports.com. Like, no random friend is going to go click on that, pay $9 to watch you play paintball for the first time. So
on a Friday, when they have to go to work or they're at school or something. See, and that's another thing. Let's say you have family, so you're going to have your family, unless you give them your login information, but you're going to have your family go on and watch it at the exact time, you know, and they can't go back in and watch it unless they log in and go find it or whatever, which is either the exact time or I don't even think they load them up until the end of the day or something, right?
I'm honestly not too sure
I don't have a membership.
Yeah, I don't either.
So, but I don't know. I mean, there's such a pros and cons to everything, right? So it's like they're obviously trying to do something for the sport, but the NXL and Go Sports, they are in that aspect having a monopoly of, on the sport, and there's not much that the players or even the people involved have a say about anything.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even like say they went to Facebook, and now their viewership is going to go up X amount, 5 times, 20 times the amount of that 6,000 subscriber base they have now. I would think they would be able to charge additional get more ads and revenue from that too, to maybe offset the costs. Because I know Millennium, they posted some of their Facebook Live statistics last year, and they seem pretty impressive. I mean, definitely bigger than 6,000 subscribers. So
yeah, and that's kind of the no duh feeling. I feel like it's like, why? Like, I understand, like you said, they're it's obviously business, they're trying to make money, but it's like the players in the league are all doing it individually with all of their social media and their lives and all this, and I'm doing it every once in a while with this, but you think the league itself or the NXL would, or because they're in a Go Sports contract, they can't do it, post on Facebook, go live on Facebook, go live on YouTube, and make this thing bigger than what it ever has been before in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I really do think it's now, up to the players to bring it to that next step. I think we've been the game has been the pro game itself, the level of play has gone up. Just where we thought it was 10 years ago to now is not where, it kind of almost went nowhere. Meanwhile, the players are putting so much more into it, not really getting back what we all thought.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like Ronnie, you, Trevor, Alex Gray, all doing the podcasts and vlogs. I really think that's kind of what needs to be taken from the players up now to take it to that next step.
Yeah, I think so too. And what I've always said, I think, with the podcast is that it's bringing these stories that are virtually untold unless they're on the ears of the ones in the room. I'm taking these stories and bringing them out to people who really would love to hear them, and that's what I really enjoy about doing this. But it's even people's opinions. I mean, not everybody can express themselves on Facebook or Instagram with how they really feel. I mean, you have those little blips on Instagram, but some people probably just blow through it. Oh, I got to read something? No, screw that. But like on here, what's nice is that anybody listening can actually kind of get more of a feeling of how you really feel or how I really feel about it, and and that's
the funny thing with Instagram, because honestly, I'm probably one of the quietest people you'll meet, and then I feel I'll if something really bothers me, I mean, that's when it gets to that point, I'll type something about the NXL or whatever on Instagram. It's some people who probably are new to following might not get that, and I sometimes forget that the following is a lot bigger than what it used to be, and not really being more careful, but just remembering a little bit that my audience is a little bigger than what it used to be. And
but what I've come to learn too, because hopefully my the podcast continues to grow, but what I've learned throughout this whole thing is that no matter whether you have 10,000 followers, 5,000, 10,000, a million, whatever, the reason you have all those people is because they value in some way your content or your opinion or your views on things. So, and I always took it at, because I've always got people like, well, why did you say that? Well, why did you say this? Or they agree with me on things. And I'm like, regardless of how you feel, I'm going to be myself and tell you how I feel. And I'm not going to let anybody say, I'm obviously, if I'm on a team or whatever, I'm not going to say anything, shitting on the team or anything, but, or the sponsors or, the whole code that we got to go by. But it's still not going to, suppress my opinion on anything.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the hard part too is, I'll say some of these things and I'll get so much positive feedback, but then it's almost sometimes I'm the only one speaking sometimes. And but like you said, I mean, I can't expect players or anyone to go bash their sponsors or anything like that. I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a little hard in that respect. But no, I mean, yeah, all the feedback's been positive. So I mean,
Well, I think because a lot of it is, true. I mean, a lot of it needs to be brought to attention. If players and photographers like yourself or videographers, excuse me, are unhappy or thinks that something is kind of flipped upside down and needs to be, come to a head.
right, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the way a lot of my issues were kind of around the NXL and just how they treated the media, and when we all want to grow the sport so much, and sometimes the decisions they make feels like it hurts the growth a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just as we are talking about with the webcast being limited to subscribers, and then I tried getting media passes, other pro passes in the past, like last year.
How much are they? How much are the pro passes? Just to step on the field and take pictures.
I got lucky with being the print magazine. They ended up waiving that for me.
Yeah.
I think it's like if you want to just take pictures, I want to say it's like $50, and then if you want to sell pictures, so like hire teams or anything, it's like another 100, so 150.
I guess that's not too bad.
No, but I mean, why though?
I mean, there is that. I mean, I guess it depends. Like, are you signing something with the NXL saying that you won't, sell your pictures? Is that the whole thing, or are they just going, well, just tell us if you do?
Yeah, technically, if they catch you selling pictures, and I guess when you come out to the next event, when you go to register, they'll have that $100 fee on there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. My big thing is there's not really like a censorship as far as like quality goes too. Because like I said, I was trying to get another pro pass for my buddy who shoots for the Red Sox, and at that time I think he was with ESPN. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't get a second pro pass for him. That was 2016 season. They wouldn't give me one for him.
Just because?
It makes no sense. I mean, he was with ESPN, shot for Purdue Athletics, like full resume. Why can't he be on the field?
Well, and it's not like the sidelines are flooded with photographers.
No, that's the thing. Like Friday, Saturday, like the pro field is pretty empty with photographers. Sunday, it does get a little crazy, especially during finals. But Friday, Saturday, I mean, those sidelines are empty. So, I mean, my idea would be, kind of like newer photographers, like if they want to get on the pro field, like let them Friday. I mean, there's really no one out there. And I mean, come on. They're not going to do anything that's going to hurt the game or anything. So it gets them that experience too. And I mean, everyone wants to shoot you guys. So
yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, and just to be able to say, I got on the pro field and to have those pictures yourself, be like, I took these. It's not divisionals. It's actually pro teams. And it would be pretty cool. So why not videography? Why have you stayed with photography and not moved over into motion picture?
That's a good question. I mean, I fool around with it a little bit. Like when Impact comes out to Sacramento, I'll go up to their practice on the layout weekend and do video for those. But I don't know if I don't think I would ever be quite happy with videos. Because I really like, was it Dan Napoli?
Yeah.
Like his style is really the only type of videos I watch.
Storytelling.
Yeah, storytelling, documentary, no like crazy music or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. I'm the same way. I like my my storytelling and my whole like Pat Spore, Dan Napoli. I'm not much of like a highlight video kind of guy. Like it's cool every once in a while, but sometimes it just gets overplayed a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, I would always envision something like his project, and I don't know, maybe I just haven't really sat down the time to like think about it and planned it out for like a full season or something. And and I don't know, photos, I mean, that's like if I'm trying to get my expenses covered, I mean, that's what's going to get it done right now. I don't really have a video resume to get anything covered. So
but
yeah, I mean, I'll fool around with it every once in a while at the events too and play around, but just sticking with photos for now.
Yeah,
Which is funny though, because I mean, like I'll post videos and like social media. I mean, they're the ones that just absolutely kill it.
Mhm.
But photos, I mean,
The speaking of social media too, you have that other Instagram, which is Brad Baldwin or
uh,
Baldwin Photography. What is it again?
it's Brad M. Baldwin.
Brad and Baldwin. What camera are you using for those?
So that's a mix of like old 35 millimeter and medium format film cameras. That like one is one of my original cameras that I even shot back in the day of like Arsenal and stuff on film. I think actually that's where I shot like 2003 NPPL New Jersey. I shot on that camera and I still have it. I shot that through the netting there when I was like 12 or 13 years old.
That's awesome.
But yeah, a lot of film, and then one of my digital cameras I use for paintball, Canon 6D. I use that as well.
Do you have you ever put out like a gallery, like a landscape gallery or anything like that, and try and sell your pictures?
I thought about like starting to sell like prints and stuff like that, but haven't looked into galleries or anything like that.
I guess gallery is kind of a lot now that I think
I
about
feel like
it.
I mean, it's kind of scary. Like you put out this, like, if you don't have like a big, friend base in an area and you put out like an invite and no one comes to your gallery show, it's like, damn.
Yeah, but you know what? It's like you think about it, and there's always those moments of like, fuck it. Like,
Yeah, that's
like
true.
why not? Like, what do I have to lose besides, maybe renting the space that I'm going to have the gallery in and spending all this money to make these pictures? But in the end, it's like, you can say you did it. It's kind of one of those little stamps in the sand.
Yeah. I think that's the hardest part with like photography, because I mean, everyone, has the different eye, and like what looks good to you might be complete shit to someone else. So it's always, just
Fuck
putting
'em.
yourself out. Yeah.
If it looks good to you, then it's good.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, the photography is definitely something I want to get more into. I mean, it's always just been that side hobby, and like how I was saying before, how I resigned from PlayStation, just getting burnt out from
Yeah.
the corporate life. And I mean, photography. I mean, like in weddings and stuff, you can definitely make decent money. Like what's his, like Brandon Fort, he gave me a chance over the summer to shoot his wedding. So I was with all the HK guys, and
Oh, nice.
that was a wild, fun wedding, and good experience to do that. So hoping to
yeah.
expand that for 2018.
Yeah, I just did a podcast. I think not the last one with Dresser, but the one before that, Nick Amrine. He is a local photographer here that's kind of made a name for himself, and he had moved out to LA for about 3 or 4 years, and then moved back here, and he owns his own photography business and everything. And that was a pretty interesting podcast. So he's got I think he's got like type 1 diabetes, and he deals with that all the time, and then shooting people around here. It was a really cool story.
I'll have to listen to that one. Me and my wife, actually, we listened to like 4 or 5 of yours when we were out camping this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which actually I wanted, because how we were talking about, NXL and like growth of paintball and stuff. I forget which one it was, but you mentioned like 2-minute time clock to try and change paintball, and it would be like race to 7 points or something like that.
Yeah, because I heard, I'm gonna give Ryan Brand all the credit for it. It was Ryan Brand in one of Zap's podcasts, and it was weird because I'm going to give him credit for it, but I swear to God, a week before that, I was thinking about something like that, and I was going to mention it, and then it just went right through Ryan's mouth and onto the podcast. I was like,
yeah, I think it was in Drew's. You kind of were recapping it in that one. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a change that I could see too for changing pro paintball up a little bit. Just so something has to happen and speed things a little bit.
Yeah, because I mean, this whole thing from bottom to top is all experimental, right? We're only doing what worked last year, and that's how I think paintball has always been. And it's not until somebody comes along and tries to push a possibly better idea and see if it works. But I think that's what the off seasons need to be for, not just to all right, well, how are we going to make this thing bigger next year? You know, what do we got? But actually, like, think, okay, what do we want to change? And sit down right after World Cup and be like, okay, what needs to change? Let's get some who cares? The higher ranked teams involved, and have them play out some scenarios, see what works, what doesn't work. And
Well, the Winter Classic would be a perfect time to, you know.
But even then, that should be the end result of what has already happened in the offseason. Like those bunkers that they made already, that it was like definite thing. I don't know exactly what they did on. Did they prototype it to Impact and X Factor, or did they just go, "Hey, congratulations, this is what next year's going to be"?
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of those decisions happen before anybody even tries the scenario on the field. But that's just my opinion. I don't really know, but I can only assume at that point.
Yeah, no idea. But I mean, I think at least getting rid of that wall should open things up a little bit and make things interesting.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to feel like 7-man, I feel, but on a shorter, smaller field. So I want to talk about your full page print magazines.
Yep.
You don't really have a name for them besides inside the net, right? I mean, that's the name.
Yeah, and then I'll do like issue 1, and then whatever
issues, that's right.
it is. Yeah. It goes by issues.
So how did that come about? How did somebody tell you and say, hey, you should do a full print magazine?
No, for whatever reason, it was like February 2016. I was like, I want to shoot paintball again. Not sure why, but just hit me. And then like I thought about like, because I was kind of making photo books and stuff with my landscape stuff. So I figured if I was going to go out, I'd like make a nice photo book for myself to remember the event, and then kind of just roll from there. That if I'm going to make it for myself, I might as well offer it to see if people would, you know, want it. And then, you know, that ended up being too expensive for a book to do, so that kind of led to researching a magazine. And then I reached out to just one of my buddies who's still playing paintball, Jeremy Doan. He plays for Wolfpack semi-pro, and he's a graphic designer at Under Armour. So I reached out to him. Yeah, so I reached out to him, just asking him if he thought people might be interested in a magazine and stuff like that. And I mean, he was honest. He said it could go either way. But I mean, I wanted to shoot Vegas, and that was my only plan, was to shoot Vegas and put out some kind of print media. And then Vegas rolled around. Well, sorry, to go back to that. I tried getting a pro pass to shoot the NXL, and they all said no. And HK was the only company that said okay. I mean, because my portfolio was from like 2007, 2008, right. So I could kind of get why some companies said no. But luckily, HK dug the old shots, and they gave me the chance and gave me a pro pass for Vegas 2016.
Yeah.
And you know, just really enjoyed it, and then put out the first print magazine. I want to say it was like 24 pages, photos only.
Mm-hmm.
Did okay. I mean, I wasn't expecting much. I mean, I was only posting on Instagram, so whatever following at that time I had was who I was only reaching.
Yeah, I think there was a void though for that kind of content, physical in front of your eyes content. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure there are no other print magazines at that time. I think one other now has tried to come back, but yeah, I think back that 2016, I think I was the only one at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, I mean, it did okay. I mean, like 60, I think it sold.
Nice.
But had a lot of fun shooting that, seeing everyone again, all my old friends, Brooklyn Bears, who I mentioned, I played with a few of them on the lift team.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up winning that Vegas event, first semi-pro event, and they won it. So that got me just, you know, really hyped and being around them. And so then it kind of just sprung from there, and started staying with the Bears at events, and then working with HK to shoot like Dynasty and Russian Legion for them. So that brought me to Dallas, I think it was.
That would explain all of the Dynasty and Russian Legion photos.
Yeah. I mean, Dynasty, I mean, like 17-year-old me would be like dying right now. I mean, because like shooting like Dynasty and
Yeah,
Russian
exactly.
and doing the magazine and having like Oliver and Alex and Ryan, they've all written articles. So like, I mean, it's been a lot of fun connecting with all those guys and stuff like that with the magazine.
Yeah, I enjoyed. I was actually honored that you asked me to write one for you,
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed coming up because I don't do that often, and I was thinking more and more about like coming out with some kind of pro player blog of just, you know, blah about whatever. And when you asked me, I was like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity for me to, you know, to write something. I had a great time doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so good with, I mean, pretty much anyone I ask has been willing to write something down. And, you know, like Alex Frazier, he gave me some like old 35 millimeter film pictures from like when him and Oliver first started playing. So
yeah,
scanned those and put them in the magazine. And yeah, I mean, just the support has been really good from all the players reaching out to help with it.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, it's good. It's needed. And I think it was Alex who had mentioned you in the podcast when I had him on. And you know, he said what you're doing is needed, like that void we were talking about. And I think the way you're going about it, you know, no ads, no nothing, straight from, you know, from you to consumer or whoever wants it, and there's nobody else involved, so that it leaves those areas free for that full photo or for that article or what have you. So I think the way you've gone about it, and just the pictures are amazing, you know, too. So I think paintball photography is one of the most underrated things but demanded things in paintball world, because everybody loves themselves, right? Everybody wants a picture of themselves. I have a tough time of doing all the social media stuff and always taking a picture of myself and doing this and doing that. That's why I love having somebody else's perspective on it, because that's how I think of it. I was like, because you never see yourself in that way. I can always see myself, you know, doing the whole phone in front of my face thing. I don't really enjoy that. I enjoy somebody else's perspective of it, and I think that's why whenever I ask for photos, if any of the photographers have any, I'm overwhelmingly grateful, you know, because it's a lot harder than what people think just to be at the event, you know, getting there, being on the field. And I mean, you guys are on the field longer than we are half the time. So
right, we're usually out there, you know, first game to last game. And yeah, I mean, it's long days, and then it doesn't end there. Then, you know, it's all the hours spent editing. And
yeah,
I mean, I can't even tell you per magazine how long it takes me to, you know, go through my selects. And then after, it was like the second issue is when I started getting other photographers to submit photos to and give them sections in the back of the magazine. So
smart. It was less work for you to do.
But I mean, even within that, then it's select, because they'll send me like their best like 20, 25, and then I'll cut it down to like about 7 to 9 photos to use. So yeah, I mean, just the amount of work going into the magazines, and I think it's shown too from the second issue to now the 11th, as far as layouts and everything, how much they've changed and really improved with people's feedback, and stuff like that.
I think it's cool too, like the other photographers, because I know a few of the other photographers that you've used, and I think you know, I don't want to speak for them, but I think that they're proud of having something in a magazine like that, and you know, they can physically see it and have it in their hands. I think that's something really cool that you're doing on your part of including all those other photographers. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's been great. I mean, just like the players are all willing to submit their work too, which I mean, just as much as, you know, it helps me expand the magazine, it's, you know, getting more people's names out too and helping out other photographers reach more people. So yeah, it's been good. Hoping that we can do it for 2018, but
yeah. So you guys heard it. I plan on putting this podcast up in the next couple of days. So you are still for hire at the moment for Vegas.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I should be there Friday to Sunday. Just we'll see what happens as far as what contacts I get. I mean, if I don't get much, then I might just go Saturday, Sunday. As I mentioned, I mean, it's a lot of the same repetitive shots over and over again. So if it's up to me and my schedule, then probably just Saturday, Sunday.
See, now if I hire you, I'll hire you for the whole day, and I would tell you I want more shots off the field than I want on the field, and then we can just do a couple shots on the field, and then just let's just go walk around everywhere. We'll just take random photos.
Yeah, I mean, like, just speaking in money terms, like, it could be easy, like, just to go out and hire a bunch of teams, but that just gets, I mean, the repetitiveness of paintball. Like, I guarantee I could probably give like an accurate scouting report on impact for any team on Sunday, and they perform pretty well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm literally watching every point, so that's why it's kind of hard working with some companies too, because they want you there all 3 days, but at the same time, normally for photographers you can get what you need in like a day.
Yeah,
and it's just all extras from there. But
yeah.
I mean, anyone that's willing to help me to get there, I'll be there whatever days they need. So,
so where can they find you if they need to contact you about that?
Really, just all Instagram. I have the website too, from insidethenet.com, and then my email is from insidethenetpb@gmail.com. But I would say Instagram is probably where I'm the most active and do the most communicating.
And that's Inside the Net.
Yeah, from Inside the Net.
Yeah, I've been trying to get Rennick to hire a photographer for Vegas, just so we can. I want to see more pictures of Bruno, like just tense and in the moment, and just like, because everybody sees, and even the calm ones too, because I mean he's settled down a lot, since he came back. But I mean that's one problem that Aftershock has, is we don't have much media going on.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't know if it's often forgot about, but like after an event, us photographers will get a ton of messages about, hey, where can I get photos? Can I get photos? And it's like, come on. Last week I put up a I'm for hire.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody, again, you heard it here. Brad is up for hire. Get a hold of him. Instagram has a website. I keep forgetting to. I keep pushing my website aside, like I'm trying to do the whole Squarespace thing.
That's what I use.
And I'm trying. I don't have any time to do it. But I want to do it because I want to put the blog up there. I want to put videos and everything up there, and I just need to stop bitching and do it.
Yes, I mean, luckily Squarespace, I mean, it's so simple. I remember like when I first started with like the websites for paintball, I was using like Dreamweaver, like HTML code and stuff like that. So Squarespace is a little spoiled now with it.
I'm so glad it's dumbed down, because there's no way, unless I was coding from a young age, that I'd be able to figure out how to do it, before then. All right, Brad, man, I will let you get back to it. I thank you so much for sitting down with me. I had a great time.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, this was fun, and enjoyed your time, and hopefully we'll speak again soon and see you at Vegas.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much, Brad, for sitting down with me, and I love hearing your side of things. I follow his Instagram, so I like the things that he points out. That's not everything is all peachy keen everywhere, and everything needs work. Everything can improve. Everything can be better, and he tends to lean the way of trying to figure out how we can make this better. And it's I believe it's all positive, and he has a right to his opinion, and just like everybody does. So all we're trying to do is better the league, better the sport, and I believe with the following that he has, he has some good points. He just does. But thanks, Brad, for sitting down. Just a quick recap of our sponsors. Thank you to Dr. Paintball. Like I said, they have a trade in your gear program. Head over to drpaintball.com and you can find out all about that. It's up at the top, kind of the top portion. You click on the trade in your gear, and they got a big old thing for you to read. I didn't read it because I'm not trading in my gear, but if you go over there and do that, they will help you out. And I think it's a really cool program, though. Like I said, make sure you check it out, drpaintball.com. Also brought to you by Carbon Paintball, CC line, SC line, gloves, packs, pants, jerseys, the base layer. I am a big fan of the SC base layer. I wear the tops and the bottoms. Super comfortable. That's the only protection as far as paintball wise, with sliding and diving around that I like. I mean, it's the knee pads stay in place, the elbow pads stay in place. It's a great product. Make sure you check it out, carbonpaintball.com. And like I said, capital TPOP, the promo code at checkout, and you will get 10% off your entire order. We are also brought to you by Planet Eclipse. Check out the G-Tech, the mechanical frame. That thing is nasty. It's so much fun. And, you know, if you are terrible at shooting autocockers like myself, I'm sure you will enjoy shooting this thing. It's a riot. And, you know, Planet Eclipse has year after year after year come out with amazing markers. And, you know, like I said before, I'm a big fan of the LV platform. It just works for me. It just works for me. Check them out, planeteclipse.com. I'm sure you all heard of it. But thank all of you out there for listening. Really, 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 really do appreciate it. You know, it means a lot when I get messages and everything saying, you know, that, you know, they listen to my podcast at work or at, you know, driving to practice or anything like that. I mean, that's what this is for, man. You know, I want to spread the paintball story and, you know, everybody's paintball story, because everybody has one. Because we all tell each other our paintball story all the time, but they're just not recorded. So that's what I'm trying to do with this podcast. So thank you all out there. And if you don't know, you can find me and message me and just chit chat with me over on social media. Instagram is Carl_Markowski, and Facebook is Carl Microwave Markowski. Give me a holler, give me a shout, and we will see you again here soon on the Playing On podcast. Peace.